we didn't think about is that, Moby Dick isn't standing alone as a kind of sea narrative. It was a very popular genre in the 19th century. Melville, read and understood how sea narratives work. So Dana's book,
2 Years Before the Mast.
2 Years Before the Mast is an important novel. And all these whaling ships had libraries as well.
Yes.
So reading was incredibly important whilst you were at sea. And you can see lists of the books that were on the ships that Melville sailed on.
And if you're reading, you're maybe using the oil of a whale to read by.
Absolutely,
it's absolutely next to you at all times.
But one other thing we perhaps would have been interesting to talk about is the way that, you talked about the labour of whaling.
Yeah.
But the job of a whaler is an odd one. It's a physical job. But you get those great moments where you're in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, the middle of nowhere, and you go to the top of the mast and you can see the universe almost. It's that combination of the physical labour but the meditative space. So whalers and shipmen more generally were both labourers and thinkers at the same time, almost.
This is ground control to Major Tom. You really made the grade. And the papers want to know whose shirts you wear.
Imagine being killed by a British accent. This is a sperm whale, the largest toothed carnivore in the world. They have the largest brain of any animal, weighing in at 9 kilograms, and they live in matriarchal groups with complex social lives. They communicate with clicks that can reach 236 decibels, which is louder than if you stood right next to a rocket launch. It would literally vibrate you to death, rupturing organs almost instantly. They can dive nearly 3 kilometers when hunting giant squid, so they need to be loud to communicate with their pod from so far away. Groups of sperm whales also have different dialects, passing different patterns of clicks down through generations like a cultural tradition. So in the North Atlantic you could literally be sonar slapped by a whale with a British accent and the teeth to match. Imagine being killed.
Get in! Get in!
You're safe. You're okay. Stay down.
All right, we're moving. We can't reach you now.
You gotta get your strength back. Go on, it's okay. Good job, you're doing well.
Off you go, buddy. Back to your home. Oh, you brought me this? Thank you, buddy.
Look at that. Brought the whole crew back, huh? You lot. Hi there.
Bye, friends. Stay safe.
JF and Eric Davis are teaming up to teach Hunting the White Whale, a course on Moby Dick. Herman Melville's Moby Dick is, like the eponymous whale, enormous, imposing, elusive, and utterly strange. Starting on January 20, 2026, JF and Eric will host 6 weeks of lectures and discussion sections for which the expression "do a deep dive" is, for once, fully justified. More than any modern book, Moby Dick invites interpretation to the exact extent that it resists explanation. Prophetic, mystical, and unhinged, it is a book of riddles and mysteries. Bringing the novel into conversation with religion, philosophy, esotericism, science, and art, Eric and JF will show how Moby Dick continues to speak to our time. Go to weirdesphere.org for more details and to sign up.
I was just in Italy in Assisi, and I learned more about St. Francis. And I had seen these pictures of St. Francis and birds.
Yeah.
And it turns out the story is that he was walking with some followers, and there was this flock of birds in the field. And he walked up to them, and they didn't fly away. They welcomed his presence. And he went about preaching a sermon to them, and they listened attentively. And he became known as being a great lover of the natural world. And he wrote a hymn called Canticle of the Creatures. And he addressed the celestial bodies in familiar ways. He said, "Let us praise brother sun and sister moon." This way of seeing ourselves in concert and communion with creatures of all kinds is both a radically new